What's up, my YouTube family? We've got a lot of Wet n Wild coming your way in this video. Not just the new pump collection that's going to be on their website and at CVS. Got just a lot of new products in general from their line. Before I knew a lot of this was coming, I actually went on their website several weeks back and I purchased some new things I just wasn't seeing in stores. So that comes in. Then I get a big PR package that included many of those things and also filled in some blanks of things I didn't get. And then beyond that, we've got this new, like I said, pump collection. The cover girl, I guess, for this brand is Cassie from Blogilates. And so it's kind of like active makeup. I mean, some of it is every bit as fussy as regular makeup, but there are some things in here where it kind of makes sense for it to be in this line. And we're just going to review it all together. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between their regular line and some of the stuff that's in here. And yeah, I'll just give you my review. And we're going to start off with this Do the Spritz Cooling Face and Body Mist. And this is from the active line, the pump line. And this actually, let's not open our mouth while we spray. It's very fragranced. It actually is the kind of fragrance that makes me think more of a body spray, and it is face and body. Feels maybe a little awkward putting it on my face, but the sprayer is really nice and even, and it's the kind of thing, if you like the scent, if it doesn't feel too fragranced for you and you wanted to put that on to set your makeup, it's a good even mist. Now in this pump line, we've got a bunch of little sticks, and the idea is that if you have a couple favorites from these sticks, you can like hook them up with this thing called Partner Up connector. It's just a little tube, and so you just take the caps off and they hook in there. So we've got all these sticks for various skincare needs. We've got also lip balm sticks and blush sticks. That's everything that looks this size. There's a toner stick, a blemish stick, a cooling moisture stick. We've got a mattifying stick and also a primer stick. So I'm going to use whatever applies to me at this moment. I'm going to actually put a little bit of the blemish stick on my blemish. I haven't really had a lot of blemish issues, but we'll just swipe a little on there. What the heck? That's blue, by the way, bright blue. I'm gonna use some of this cooling moisture stick under the eyes. This is decent. It doesn't quite have as much of a cooling sensation or as much glide as a product I have that's much like this from e.l.f., but it feels okay on the under eye area. I've got a different primer to use that I actually really like, and I don't love this stick so much because the scent is just, oh, it's so strong. Chemical or like a crayon, microwaved in with nail polish, does not smell pleasant. The mattifying stick also does not smell good, but I must say it does mattify. It does do the job. The primer I want to use is something that I had ordered, and it's this Water Drop Primer cucumber scent. And the cucumber scent is so good, and it's a really cool consistency. It comes out looking like this pale green cream, and then it just thins out so beautifully on the skin. You can just already feel it doing that as you rub your hands together, and then look, it's just, it does feel like, it feels like kind of an amazing thin moisturizer going on. But once it is all blended in, I can feel an additional like sort of smoothness to the texture of my skin. But that's really cool. I've enjoyed that. But guys, I've had a lot of not so good experiences with a lot of this stuff, so bear with me. I've got two different foundation-ish products that we're gonna pop on here. We've got the Makeup Locker. This comes from the Pump line, and this is a like BB cream down here, and then in the top it lifts up and you've got a corrector and a cream highlighter. And also to enhance our coverage, I got the new Photo Focus Stick Foundation, because I think you'll find if you tried this too, this is a very, very light coverage BB cream, which I do wear in the shade light as well. But basically, you've got this whole tub of product here. It feels like a classic BB cream texture, and I don't have my expectation too high. You know, I realize that BB cream is on the light end of coverage, but there are always some here and there that surprise you a little bit, give you that moisture, give you something extra like some SPF, or somehow just a little extra level of coverage that really does make the rest of your makeup feel more flawless because it did something, you know? This doesn't really do a whole lot. That little spatula is kind of short to like streak it all over the face, so I'm just gonna get some on my finger and dab it around. And then I think I am going to try blending this in with a brush, because that gives it a little better chance at coverage than a dampened beauty blender does. I'll just get this blended in all over the skin. Now I've already moisturized underneath this, but the level of moisture in this product is probably such that I might be able to get by with this and this alone. Like in true BB cream fashion, it's combining moisture and makeup because my skin really does have a hydrated feel. It's just gonna be super light coverage, better with a brush than a sponge. But here's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna do this Photo Focus Stick Foundation, which I have in the shade Classic Ivory. And gotta say guys, I'm not a fan of this stick foundation. I feel like it's not enough coverage and the staying power is really, really poor for me. And it's just in an overall fading sense, you know? Like I don't just see it breaking down in one area. I see it just kind of disappearing in general. And I have the new sponge here. This is one of the things I ordered just from their regular line. It's got this really nice shape, which I do like when one side's flat, and yet it still does come to a point here. Like it's super duper soft also. I'm gonna blend one side with my brush, just so you can take that in. Obviously, it's gonna enhance our coverage somewhat. I'm not saying the coverage with this stick is non-existent, but I just feel like it could be so much better. And there are better stick foundations out there for sure, even in the same price point. Then I'm gonna use the sponge over here. And the sponge is really good, really soft, feels just like the texture of a Real Techniques sponge. Like I said, it's just a little different shape if this appeals to you. I like putting my finger on the flat side and then using that kind of more rounded part just to blend everything in. The thing I kind of like about the foundation is like the texture and feel growing across the skin. It's like it's got a little moisture in there, but it's not too like oil slick greasy. I just wish it would provide a little better coverage and really last. And guys, I did not forget about this corrector right here. It's so funny, we were just talking about the shades of correctors when I mentioned this concealer from the Collab brand, and it's got a very similar tone to this. Like it's peachy, but it's more of a yellowy, like orangey peach, not so much a pinky peach. And after that whole video, my friend David, who is a makeup artist in New York, he sent me this explanation and I thought this is so brilliant. And I'm like, could you shoot a video of yourself saying this so I could insert it? He's like, no, I don't want to do that. So here's what he said. Salmon swims in a blue ocean and peaches grow on brown bark trees. Translation, bluish circles are better concealed by salmon, like the more pinky tones, and brown circles do better with peach tones. So what color is your circle or your spot that you're trying to cover, and that'll determine what kind of corrector is probably best for you. And in any of the shades I was considering wearing in this BB cream, the attached concealers, they all looked like this. So I'm gonna put it on for you and just show you over my under eye area the fact that this doesn't really conceal as well as my Erase Paste, which is more of a classic salmon pinky peach look. Like, in fact, this is just a little dark overall, and it's not like they've given you another step to go over that and make it lighter as far as a concealer goes. They've given you a shimmery cream highlight, which is going to be a completely different purpose on the skin, right? So anyway, there's that. Again, I don't feel like it's really concealed the problem. In fact, I feel like that tone has just put more visible product on my skin. So we're going to try to work around this now and bring in just a regular concealer. This is my Photo Focus concealer that I've had around actually for quite some time for this line. It's in light ivory, and you know, it's okay. It's a real standard, just doe foot applicator concealer. It's not reaching that real extreme coverage place that some new releases are these days. But we're just gonna kind of dab that in, and then you'll see that we do have a much brighter look after doing this. But this kind of trio product gives like such an impression like it's gonna be a real one and done thing. Like you don't need to bring in countless other products to try to make the corrector work. I don't know, I thought it looked so cute and I was thrilled that they would even think to put a corrector in there, but then it really just didn't work the way I hoped. But a little concealer on top, you know, we're not flawless on the under eye right now, but we're doing a lot better than we were. Now for powder, there is no powder in this pump line, which I thought was a little surprising that they wouldn't do like kind of a touch-up powder, since that seems to be a very common way people touch up. They do have these oil absorbing sheets which work just pretty much like any oil absorbing sheet, although I think they need to improve their technology of this a little bit. It's really hard to just pull out one. It's like you're working with a container of baby wipes and you go for one and you've instantly got three. Like it's really hard to just pull out one, and it's a little fussy too to just get that thing in there. I know, is it e.l.f.? They've got a really great system for their blotting sheets where a little adhesive will like grab your next one, and it's just very easy. And they're not the only brand that's done that, but I think that's a much better method. But I did buy a powder that's outside of the pump line, and it's the Photo Focus Translucent Powder. Just a big old container of powder here. Again, I just have, the shade is literally translucent. I'm not a big fan of this powder. It's a proper tone and it will mattify, but it just looks makeup-y on my skin, like you really see it. I'm gonna put it just to set my under eye a little bit here. I've just gotta be careful to do a very just light amount, because then I look up close at my nose and I'm like, whoa, I really see the product there. So I'm just gonna get a little on my T-zone also. But yeah, this isn't gonna be a powder that makes it into my regular rotation very often. A powder like this, I feel like, is not gonna be the thing that completely makes or breaks your makeup look, you know? Like, yeah, it's a little more visible on my skin than using a Laura Mercier or a Maybelline Fit Me or something. It's just a little more chalky looking than that, but if you use it lightly, it's still not gonna totally screw you up, you know? Next, my friends, we're gonna use a little bronzer. I bought one on the website that I thought was gonna be a totally like rich, deep bronzer. It's called Palm Beach Ready, but it's very light and shimmery, and it might almost act as a highlight on some people. Like, there's just so much shimmer to it, it's just not very deep on my skin. But in the PR kit, this bronzer came. It's called What Shady Beaches. Sneaky, Wet n Wild Sneaky. And you can see that's just a matte bronzer. This actually works all right on me. I remember when Wet n Wild was like absolute drugstore king of bronzers, and this was back like when I was starting on YouTube, and they had some really good, like, they were deep and they had some shimmer, but they were like the best bronzers you would find in the drugstore. Does anybody remember those days? They were in their little like square compacts. It was when Wet n Wild was just getting started being good with their powder formulas, and they came out with some kind of ultimate something eyeshadow palettes. This is going like way back before like Comfort Zone and all that stuff came out. Ultimate Expressions, I think, was the name of those eyeshadow palettes. And they had just these really good bronzers too that I would use all the time. Like doing the news, I'd feel like, oh my gosh, this is the only thing that can give my skin life, because it was like there were no other drugstore bronzers doing enough. This, like I said, I've kind of grown to like a bit of a reddish tone in bronzers that I use. It just looks more like natural sun-kissed skin when I go for something like that. But this, I feel I can make it work. It's definitely pigmented enough. You know, it's a really, it has the capability of being an intense bronzer if that's what you need. The thing that single-handedly saved the coverage of this look, my friends, was this concealer though. And this was nothing new in the whole line, but that, like, that evenness there, even if I'm not so even everywhere else on my skin, like being nice and even and bright on the under eye, I think can save you. Let's talk more about these little sticks now, because we're moving on to cream blush. They've got 4 different like blush options. Light peach, a little bit richer peachy pink, something a little bit like brownish, almost bronzer-y. And then my favorite is the one called Major Flush, and I put it in the connector stick. So the connector stick is just a little tube, and so you're gonna take your cap off, and now this becomes the cap. And I put a lip balm on the other side, but the blush that I have here is called Major Flush. Did I already say that? I don't even know. Sort of dot this on here. This is the color that looks the most rosy. It does look like the most natural flush. And I might just use this Pro Mini Flawless airbrush here. Now, some blush sticks really go cream to powder. Like, they feel creamy at the first instant, but as you start to blend them on the skin, they really seem drier. This is a little bit more of a dewy blush stick. It kind of maintains that same texture. It's pretty easy to blend out, I would say. I need a little bit more. To be honest, out of this whole pump line, it's probably one of the better products. Trouble is, this is like the richest one, and deeper skin tones may not hardly see that on their skin if it's this subtle on me. Let's go ahead and do the balms too, talk about those. We also have 4 lip balm sticks. We have Pink Knockout, which is kind of a little bit brighter looking pink. Keep in mind, these are all gonna be really sheer on the lips. Peach Boot Camp looks like kind of a rich peach there. Violet Victory, a little bit brighter pink. The one that I have liked the best is called Coral Conditioning. I'll try that on for you, but I actually think today I might go for a little different shade. The color, as you can see, is just super soft, but it's a really nice texture and just a very light scent. Like, of all the ways they've scented different different things. I thought it was interesting that they went so like kind of nicely subtle on the lip balm. But yeah, let's pop on one of the brighter pinks. And then by the end, we may switch up the lip product altogether. But I'm gonna do the Violet Victory one. You've really gotta apply a lot to see much color with these. There are some better tinted lip balm products from the drugstore, absolutely. Or like just shiny moisturizing lipsticks like the Physicians Formula, the L'Oreal Color Re-Shine. Look into those if you want a really comfortable texture, but also color you can see. The color is gonna be ultra, ultra sheer. Now, if we're taking this line very literally and saying, this is stuff you could go work out in, maybe that barely there color is gonna work for you, but it's still, there's enough in this line to make me kind of judge it as makeup, you know? Like we got shadow sticks, there's palettes too, there's just a lot to take in. I'm gonna do my brows real quick because I don't have a Wet n Wild product for that, and then we'll come back and talk eyes. Wait, before I go, I wanna use this little spray. I got this 3-in-1 primer water, but it's prep, set, and refresh, you know. You can use this at any step of your makeup, but this is again with the cucumber scent. The scent is so good. And the sprayer on this little thing, so fantastic. Wet n Wild already had some setting sprays that were packaged like this. It's a really good mist, a really full mist, if you know what I mean. It really like sprays out and covers your whole face and is very, very fine. I love this. And I really liked the water droplet thing. And they've got these in various scents. So I think there's rose and also coconut. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong there, but I'm really digging the cucumber. Okay, now I'll do brows. Brows are done. I just used my CoverGirl like skinny brow pencil there. And we're gonna jump into these palettes. So these are from the Pump line and they're called Full Circuit. And what we've got here are palettes that combine cream and powder, and not really in the best way for me. There's actually just a big stick that goes over these powders, and I guess you could totally remove it if you really didn't care about the powder flaking into your creams. But you've got 2 correctors and 2 lip colors. The correctors are going to be the same in each one. It's just a straight up yellow and green. I'm not totally opposed to using a yellow or trying to use a yellow, but green, I just don't like green correctors on my skin. I'm not a fan. Now that's nothing personal to the green corrector. I don't have a lot of redness on my skin, so it just doesn't really have a place. And then you've got 2 lip colors underneath. I'm going ahead and keeping those covered. These are like pressed lipstick style consistencies, by the way. I really wish they would have just left that stuff out and given us a powder palette with just the eyeshadow and then these 3 cheek products, because I think that would have been way more like something I might actually grab for on a regular basis. Having the creams and knowing those aren't particularly corrector shades I'm gonna use all the time, and then the lipsticks, it's like I'll just grab a lipstick or a lip gloss that I want to use. The texture though of the eyeshadows is nice, and this is the other option here. So you've got these 2. This one is the more well-rounded palette in my eyes because it goes darker, and then you have a shade here that could possibly be a little more bronzer-ish. Here it's like 2 highlighter shades, a blush, and 3 overall pretty light eyeshadows. So we're gonna go with this one. Also in this line, eyeshadow-wise, we have some shadow sticks. Now I was wearing these for a look yesterday, and they ended up creasing pretty bad by about 3/4 of the way through the day. And they seem to be the kind of shadow stick that would be a long wear, like sets itself, kind of just forget about it type deal, but they didn't really work out for me that well. Some of the shades are very pretty. In fact, I'm looking for the kind of rosy one, the one called Mauve Girl. Like, I think that shade's really beautiful. And then there's several kind of bronzy shades, and then the 2 that I haven't gotten into yet are the black and the really like bluish purple. I think I will show you a little bit just these face steps. Let's grab this shade that appears to be bronzer. Oh, it's so powdery too. So it is a good thing that we left that little tape on there. But this bronzer would be like a barely there bronzer slash just kind of general powder maybe, with a hint of sheen. This blush has a little sparkle to it. We'll just pop a little of that on so you can see. Get a little extra pink to the cheeks. There's just so many products to go through, you know, with this line. Definitely pigmented. I mean, I don't have any complaints with that blush. What is the name of this palette? This is the Cooling Down palette, and the other one is the, let me guess, Warming Up. Warm Up. Yeah, I'm on to it. Okay, let's do the highlight. This is nice. I like that. See, individually, these powder steps are pretty good. I just wish I had them alone, you know, in an even smaller, more compact little pocket palette, you know? And then there are some new highlights in the regular line, which I'll just pop in here in a second. I won't apply them, but I'll just show them to you. There are pressed highlighters like this. This is the one called Bloom Time, and this kind of reminds me of like the texture of what I just put on my skin, you know, pretty pronounced highlighters, potentially very metallic in that range of products. Then they've got some loose powders that I find to be super duper subtle, and I just probably wouldn't realistically waste my time with those. Then they have a jelly highlighter. I bought the jelly highlighter. I bought the jelly primer too, which I just kind of felt like was putting a little extra moisturizing goop on my skin before my makeup. I don't know, but the highlighter is actually really pretty. This definitely does make an impact. I'm gonna just dab a little on. It's a really beautiful like champagne-y color. You just have to blend it in right away because it seems to set fast. Does not leave any sticky residue on there. I already had a decent highlight on, so I don't know why I'm doing this. But I guess my point was that while you feel like you're literally just opening up this big vat of goop, it is a pretty vat of goop. And I do kind of like that. I got one of the eyeshadows too in that jelly line. It's called Wedding Season. The shade itself, you swatch it out, you're like, wow, that's gorgeous, but you got this, I kept the stopper in, I'm not sure why, but it seems like you've only got maybe half a teaspoon of product and there's so much of the thing seems empty. And just as far as eyeshadow goes, dabbing into that, it's more fussy. It's much more fussy than I want to engage in, you know, on a regular basis. Anyway, guys, I want to move on and show you these eyeshadows because again, I think they're pretty good. They're pretty powdery, as you can see when you tap your brush in, they kick up a lot, but they're pigmented and easily blendable enough. I just think you are going to have kind of a mess if you take off that tape because you have potentially a lot of fallout that could mix in. I think they knew that, so they put the tape on, but it's just not a good system. I don't want to be pulling off tape, replacing tape. Like if those were steps that I was really interested in using, I don't want to have to do that all the time. Like figure out how to give us a separate lid or a separate window or something, or just leave those out and give people who like creams a cream palette and then put these nice eyeshadows and these face steps together. Okay, so we got this little like, I don't know, dusty lavender shade working in our crease. Let's do a little bit of the charcoal now. Just work a little bit of that in to deepen things up. Those sticks though, I'm not saying they're totally unworkable because maybe if you put one on just as a base for something and then set it, I bet it would probably work just fine. But I didn't set anything. I just wore them as is because I thought, oh, maybe this will be that quick, no fuss, just swipe them on and go. But they kind of creased, and I don't have really oily eyelids. That's never a big issue for me. Okay, so we easily took that darker shade and just kind of blended that in a bit. I think I'm gonna put some of that on my lid as well with a flat brush. Gosh, I really like that highlight in there. The blush is decent. They could have gone a little deeper on the bronzer, but whatever. So yeah, these are two mattes here with this shade and this shade. And then we have a little shimmer that I'll pop on here as well. Kind of a shimmery bronze. See, that's a decent little look, isn't it? Maybe I can also use some of this shade just kind of on the border of things, like right up in here. Not like my favorite look of life, but the shadows themselves were pretty good. And then we'll do a little highlighter, just use the face highlighter up on the brow bone. And we'll put a little pop of that. We'll try it on the inner corner too. And guess what? I feel like this is always the product that's coming into some other brand's tutorial, but now it's Wet n Wild, and so I can actually use my Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlight, which I do in my lower inner rim. Nothing new here, as you guys know. It just instantly wakes you up, and it lasts better in my lower inner rim than most things that are intended to be there. Do you want to see one of the lip colors on from this? Again, I just can't believe it's just this tape film. Let's try some of this. They feel just like a pressed lipstick, basically. Not particularly shiny, but creamy enough. I just feel like it's already getting gross and like fingerprinty powder stuff from my fingers is getting on there. I just don't like it. Now I don't have any particular eyeliner to use, so I'm just gonna move on to the new mascara that I got. This is from the regular line, it's mega length. I've never had particularly good results with any Wet n Wild mascaras that I can remember, but this one actually kind of works for me. I'm so surprised. I feel like it wasn't flaking off or really smearing on me, and the brush is just so much different than I would have of remembered, because I think mega length and mega volume and mega everything, that whole idea has been part of Wet n Wild's line for a long time, but this is definitely different. It's a rubber bristle brush. It's a little bit tapered toward the tip, and I've just curled my lashes, and now I'm gonna put this on. And I feel like it kind of holds the curl pretty decently well, but it's not clumping my lashes together. It is kind of lengthening them out. Really easy brush to maneuver. It actually is really nicely lengthening. Like, I'm really pleased with it. The other day, like when I was wearing those shadow sticks, even though I was wearing those and they didn't last so well and kind of smudging, the mascara stayed looking really nice. So there's that mascara. Like, honestly, so surprised that it worked that well. Now, do you guys remember the video where I ran into a bunch of new stuff in at Walgreens Wet n Wild wise? Like, it was the new eyeshadow palettes, the liquid catsuit shines. Well, in this PR package, you can see there's a lot more where that came from. I had also mentioned in that video, like, they had shimmery liquid eyeshadows and they had some cream ones that look basically like skin tones. So I'll link to that video below because I definitely discussed all this stuff, but there's some beautiful shades in this liquid catsuit line. I like the texture, I like the shine, very opaque formula, just a really good product. And so I'm gonna grab out, let's use this Berry Down Low shade today. We can use a little punch on the lips, right? Nice little applicator that's kind of a scoop so it holds some product. And look how opaque. Like, it's really gonna be kind of a what you see is what you get color with these. I know the mattes were pretty popular from this line, but I love the shine. And I like the texture of it. This color is so fun. Gorgeous. Love that shade. Yes. So I feel like if you see these in the stores, you see what they look like in the tube, just pretty much plan on it looking the same way on your lips, and it's comfortable shine. It's really great. So I'm going to talk about some of the skincare and hair things in a second that are also part of that pump line that does not end. But just to kind of wrap up the makeup here, love the liquid catsuit. The mega length mascara I think was a hit for me. And my other tip top favorites were the water drop primer and the spray. You might go for different scents than cucumber, but I think this is a really cool texture for a primer, and I love the way the mist went too, and the smell of the mist was nice. The jelly highlight, like I said, it's pretty. It's just kind of like, I don't know, it ultimately is probably giving me an effect that I can achieve from so many different highlights that I already have. It's just the jelly gimmick, you know? Some YouTuber can pop up a thumbnail and put jelly in the corner and everybody will watch, you know, it's that kind of thing. They do seem to have an expanded range of bronzers and highlighters that are fine, you know? They seem to be pigmented and nice, and the sponge is good as well. This is a nice quality sponge in a really great shape that comes to a point but gives you the flat edge too. This pump line of makeup, I mean, this fell short for me. Obviously, I thought the BB cream, I wanted a little more coverage than that. The corrector wasn't so good for me. The cream highlight in there is okay, but I mean, you're not gonna buy the whole thing for that. Was not a fan of the photo focus stick because I've achieved such better coverage with other products. Thinking just from the drugstore, what first comes to mind is L'Oreal's Infallible Stick Foundation, and then many other high-end ones that are good as well. Some of these different little skincare oriented sticks, like the mattifying kind of smelled funny, the primer kind of smelled funny, the cooling moisture stick was okay, but not really as cooling as some other things. I feel like they were just trying to come up with more and more things to put in this format. That one blush stick that I used was decent, you know, and the lip balm was okay. The lip balm has a really nice feel. They're just very, very sheer. Plan on much less color than what you see in the stick. And these stick eyeshadows just really fell short in terms of staying power, but pretty looking colors and might be pretty bases alongside a powder look. And then, as we said, the palettes, just, you know, just decide what you want to put in the palette and let's just make it powder cream. So much to go through here, but I'm gonna do kind of like, I don't know, like a rapid fire review with some of these skincare items. This expert level facial cleansing oil, I tried to wash my face with this stuff and I felt like it looks so thin right here in the bottle, but it seemed, I don't know, a little thicker than I expected to blend it in over my skin. And I just kind of massaged it in and hoped that it would really remove the makeup. I went the full effort to like put it on. I even let it sit for a little bit, and then I really blended it in to try to rinse everything off. And I felt I had rinsed to the point where I didn't really feel any residue. Like, it was a pleasant, non-dried feel afterward, but I felt like everything was off. And then I took a face wipe to my skin and I picked up so much makeup and I'm like, what did this do? I don't know. I've been interested Actually, I've been using some different oils before I ultimately take a wipe to my skin at night. I've been trying some different ones, but that one just didn't do as much as I thought it had to have been doing as I was going through the process. These wipes, these are called Hit the Shower. They're face and body cleansing wipes, and they are big. Let me take one out for you. As far as wipes that I've seen in little packets like this, these are huge. So I think they are appealing to the body side of things, because a face wipe might be like that big, but here, yeah, I'm still going. I'm still unfolding, gang. Here we go. It's a big old wipe. It has a very like menthol scent. I put this up around my face the other day, started kind of removing some makeup with it, and I just thought this just feels way too fragrance. Like I was just afraid a breakout or a major reaction was just around the corner with this because it's just so strongly scented. But I could see it being very, yeah, it feels so cooling to like rub it on your body. So if you need to have like something in your bag to just sort of wipe down with, I get that. And it seems juicy enough, you know, and it feels cooling on the body, but I don't like this on the face. These little balls, little thing of balls called Personal Best Exfoliating Facial Cleansing Balls. You've got these in here, and I used one of these the other night, and you take the ball, you get it wet, and then you start to break the ball down and turn it into sort of a paste, which is kind of fun, but one of these balls produces a lot of paste, and there's nothing exfoliating about it that I can tell. Unless there's some chemical in here that is exfoliating to your skin, you don't feel any grit in these whatsoever. It just feels like a cream cleanser or some kind of paste, and it's very like lathery when you put it on your skin. It's super duper creamy, and I'm not saying it was a bad experience at all using it. I kind of like it. I'm just not sure how it's exfoliating me. Guys, I will have to update you on my Instagram stories on these, but I did not yet use the brightening glitter mask or the purifying glitter mask. Haven't had a chance to sit down and do that. As you can see, one is pink glitter, one is black and glittery. And then we got a couple hair things. We got a dry shampoo and a refreshing hair mist. The hair mist claims to give subtle but lasting fragrance and lightweight shine. Before I leave the house in the morning, I will spray my cologne like psh, psh, a little on my wrist and then a little bit above my head, and it just falls down and my hair will smell like my fragrance. I don't think you need to buy something to make your hair like smell good. This scent is decent. It's kind of like flowery but mixed with a fresh deodorant kind of smell. It's all right if you're into that kind of thing. The dry shampoo, not a fan of this. I tried to bring back some real like ready to be washed hair. I sprayed this in, I let it sit for a little bit, I kind of massaged it in, and I brushed through, and I felt like my hair looked more greasy than when I started. And I'm not like calling out this product in particular here because there are a lot of dry shampoos that do that to me. One that doesn't is Batiste. Really like the Batiste, the brunette toned one too is really good, but that dry shampoo was just not it. Thank you guys for watching today. I'd love to hear what you think if you've tried any of this line and just how did it go for you. Wet n Wild is definitely one of those brands, always has been, where I could plan on some real good hits and definitely some misses too. They're always going to kind of be on both ends of the spectrum for me. So thanks again for your time, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.